It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and, we put the band back together. Ellis Gellius from Flow News 24 in here, as well as Karl Carrington, who's popped in for a chat. Big Carlito, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, boys. I'm glad the gang's back together. Dan's in the room for the listeners out there, so he's not on mic, but yeah, the gang is very, very truly back together.
He's agreed graciously to let you have the mic to talk about women's sport, and there is a lot going on professionally at the moment. Ellis, have you been following the W League?
I have indeed. Plenty going on. Sydney FC, similarly to the men's side of things, absolutely dominating the domestic landscape.
Well, we're going to come back to that, but Karl reminds me and tells me that he follows the AFLW extremely closely, and he's been watching with interest this week as the mighty Adelaide Crows down Brisbane. Carlos, you're a Crows man now. You must be loving these guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Girls.
I wouldn't go that far, Jason, but it was a very, very good performance by the Crows, really led by one person and one person alone, being Erin Phillips, who kicked 4 goals, had the ball on a string all day, and basically won the game so handedly for her team.
Pretty much. What about some other results from AFLW last week? The Fremantle Dockers, why don't we have a look at their game? If they'd kicked straight, this could have been anything.
Yeah, it definitely could have been, and they're once again proving to be one of the best teams in the competition and could go very far in the finals. Have a looking back to Friday night, you had the Saints beating Geelong by almost 30 points, playing extremely well, the Saints as well, such as the men teams are, they're playing beautifully.
Yes, go for it, Ellis.
I was going to say, Fremantle leading the ladder at the moment in the AFLW. We know they've never won a trophy as a club, men or women. If they were to pull this one off, could WA become a bit of a hotbed for rising interest in this competition? Because we know that with how things are at the moment, there's not a whole lot of interest in the AFLW out west. If Fremantle were to win this competition this year, could that change?
Yeah, definitely. I think if any team needs to win a premiership in either competition, it's probably Fremantle in the men's or the women's competition, and the best way to springboard an interest from fans and gather a greater following in the WA is to win the AFLW and win the premiership and showcase that the women's team is really the real stuff, really.
Well, it won't be West Coast. We know that, unfortunately, Ellis. They're only early in their existence, so we're not going to go too hard on them. But GWS relegated them to 12th spot on the ladder out of 14 clubs, by the way. 7-6-48 to the Coasters 4-4-28. But what about some of the remaining games? I can't believe North Melbourne. They were touted as premiership favourites, and if you don't kick a goal in a game, you don't deserve to be premiership favourites.
Well, I've been hyping them up the last couple of weeks as possibly being better than the AFL men's team, the North Melbourne Kangaroos, in the women's competition, but when you can't even kick a goal, you really can't say a lot, and yeah, they had a really poor day out against Collingwood,
who aren't doing much wrong at the moment. Mind you, 4-4-28 to 8 points. Scoring shots equal. Just North Melbourne couldn't find the big sticks. St Kilda, their men and women are going beautifully at the moment, and the Saints were too good for the Cats.
Yes, they were, and once again, the hardness at the ball and the contest that the Saints bring every week, it seems at the moment, is really a catalyst to them winning games. So it was another showcase of that against Geelong on Friday night.
And Ellis, we'll bring you both in on this one, Ellis, and of course Carlos. Melbourne. Now, fool's gold. Last week when they beat North Melbourne, I said it was the best game of AFLW I'd seen in a long time. Turns out it was fool's gold. Look at this scoreline. 2-12, the Demons. The Western Bulldogs, 6 goals, 1. So that's right. That's 7 scoring shots to 14, and they still lost by 13 points.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. I've probably never seen anything like that. I don't know, Karl, you very much across a wide array of sports. Where does that rank among some of the most incredible upset wins?
Yeah, it's definitely a very poor showing from Melbourne, and led by Daisy Pearce, you'd think that they'd put up a bit more of a fight, especially in front of the big sticks. So they're still going all right. They're sitting in 5th. They did lose a tight one to Western Bulldogs, who will hopefully be playing finals. So yeah, it was a good showing from the Western Bulldogs, and they'll be right in the mix come the end of the season.
Some interesting games in AFLW this weekend as well. It'll all get underway on Friday evening with Geelong and Richmond. And if we look ahead, some mouth-watering games in the AFLW. The Crows take on St Kilda. Looking forward to that game. And Carlton and North Melbourne. Gee whiz, North need to bounce back in a hurry. Collingwood and Melbourne as well should be a beauty. And Ellis, your West Coasters might have a win. They take on Gold Coast.
Bottle of the Dwellers.
Don't speak too soon, guys. But luckily, we've got the AFL season to look forward to. That's nothing against the girls, but lift your socks, ladies.
Indeed. Hey, let's have a look at W League action now, and we might start with the ladder. I think that's probably a good place to start, just to remind everyone where we're at. You mentioned that Sydney replicating their men's form at the moment, top of the ladder. But I'll tell you what, this ladder looks a little different than the way it normally looks in the W League.
Correct. But yeah, Sydney FC, they've got so many talented players. Obviously, Princess Abini, brother to Bernie Abini in the A-League. Caitlin Ford, one of the best Matildas that we have going around. So Sydney very much the benchmark in that competition, but there's still plenty of scope for some of those other clubs to challenge them, particularly Brisbane Roar as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And Adelaide United is still in the mix, which is really good to see. They're currently sitting in fourth, so hopefully they have a strong end to the season and end up playing finals.
Yeah, keep going, sorry.
I'll just say on Adelaide United in the W League, Joe Mullen, legendary South Australian, becomes an assistant coach at Adelaide United's W League team, who haven't qualified for the finals in their history. They've been around since 2008. What does that say about the great Joe Mullen? What can he do?
Could be the secret recipe.
Could be. When you talk to Tony Sage a little bit later on too, who is the Perth Glory owner, as we know, maybe ask him about his women's team and where they're at the moment, because, gee whiz, not going so well. Actually, be nice to him. Don't ask him about that at all. Be nice to him.
They're a bit of a case of no Sam Kerr, no party. So, unfortunately, with Sam Kerr being one of the best players in the world, she's got greener pastures to look forward to. But, yeah, they've been successful for a long period of time, the Perth Glory W League side, so they can't act too spoiled. They've had their time at the top.
Carlito, who's going to win the W League? Come on, we need a tip. We're halfway through the season. Who's going to win?
Yeah, it's very hard to look past Sydney, to be honest. Obviously, that's the easy answer with them sitting on top of the ladder, but I really think that they have the right stuff to go all the way. I think Adelaide will be very pleased to make the finals, and hopefully they can cause a bit of an upset if they face off against Brisbane or Sydney as that top-of-the-table team that they are.
Well, the Roar aren't doing much wrong at the moment either. They've won 5 on the trot, so we'll see how they go. But we'll leave it there, gentlemen. Excellent work. Thank you both. And Carlito, you can go back to whatever it was you were doing before we started this segment. I look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Pleasure, boys. Cheers.